Hello, everybody. Hi, it's Honeybee. Welcome to my little reading corner. Um, Today I want to talk about the book Pounded by Produce by GM Ferry. I read this book exclusively on my Kindle, on Kindle Unlimited. I don't know why I was getting targeted ads for this book, like hardcore. I thought everybody was also seeing like ads, like it's like VeggieTales meets Smut, and it's two hot priests that shift into a cucumber and a tomato respectively. So like I was talking to my girlies. I have a group that I do book clubs with, and I was like, have you heard of Pounded by Produce? Like assuming that everyone had also seen all the ads that I had seen. They did not. They had no idea what I was talking about. So I like pulled it up and I'm like, see? Pounded by Produce. And they're like, what? So I took one for the team. I was gonna read it anyway, but I did read it and sent the girls updates as I read it. And now I'd like to update all of you. Spoilers ahead in case you want to read Pounded by Produce. If you grew up watching VeggieTales and you find yourself with some religious trauma and a little bit of a smut addiction, first of all, same. Like we're friends here. And this might be a good book for you. I had a really good time because like the nods to the VeggieTales series were fun and lighthearted, like sprinkled in, I'd say, at a good amount. And it kept it like light and fun, but there was still a lot of good plot. The character that is like not a character that turns into a tomato or a cucumber respectively, her name's Emily, and she's got her own little story going on too, which makes it interesting. And it's also a little self-aware. Like there are nods to like, what kind of cheesy rom-com am I in? Like with me thrown into the mix, it's like a smut novel. It's like little on the nose there. Which, as far as books that are like sentient object romance novels, like I can't read one that takes itself too seriously. Like it has to be lighthearted. It has to be funny. Because if it's not, I don't know. Like it has to be lighthearted. It can't take itself too seriously because it is so unserious. So Pounded by Produce is a male, female situationship. It becomes more than that at the end. Spoilers. But we have three main characters. The perspective does change among all three of these characters. And it's really interesting to get like insight into what each of them are thinking because they are experiencing this attraction to one another very differently. And it's a good time. I don't know if I really need to give a full plot breakdown. We have two priests in like a Catholic church. This girl Emily ends up being their live-in chef. There's literally no reason why a small rural chapel needs a live-in chef. But anyway, here we are. I think I just want to talk like as far as this one about like stats, not stats. I didn't take any real numbers, but like the nods to the, I guess, original source material. So we have a nod to Where Is My Hairbrush? Pretty early on, we have Father Robert and Father Laurent. And Laurent is looking for his hairbrush. Have you seen my hairbrush? Laurent yells. across the field from the back kitchen door. I whip my attention to him as he rushes towards me, all legs and arms flailing behind his tall form. I shake my head when he's still several paces away. He sulks, looking up at the clouds, screaming, "Oh, where's my hairbrush?" If you're a VeggieTale girly or boyo, I don't know. I think my overall demographic is females. However, if you identify differently, feel free to let me know what you would like to be called. We have the whole hairbrush debacle. We have a reference to "My God is Bigger Than the Boogeyman," which, if you know, you know. Classic song. I don't think that's specifically a Silly Songs with Larry song. I think that is just another song in the VeggieTales universe. A lot of like father, not daddy, but like father references because they're priests. Another quote that I highlighted that I find really funny is, "I'm just a veggie and veggies can't sin." Like, sure. There is another reference to, I think it's a song in VeggieTales. It's like that time I got my lips stuck in a gate. Or that one time I got my lips stuck in a gate. And then like in VeggieTales, Larry goes into a whole like story about how his lips were so swollen and he couldn't talk. But like as soon as I saw that, I was like, whew, that's a little bit of a deep cut. Like not everybody would be able to be like, it's like that one time I got my lips stuck in a gate. Like, of course. We also have "Everybody wants a water buffalo. Yours is mean. Mine is a kind fellow. Oh, where would you find one? I don't know, but everybody wants a water buffalo." This isn't the exact lyrics from like VeggieTales, but it is a nice nod. There is also a reference to Barbara Manatee, which is actually a parishioner at their church. Barbara Manatez, she knits or crochets Laurent a sweater with like a big rubber ducky on it, and gives it to him, and he's like, "Oh, Barbara Manatez, you are the one for me." It's like, little on the nose there, while still being like slightly different. This like the quotes from this book are like I did highlight all the ones that are obvious VeggieTales references, but I did also highlight like a bunch of other like funny ones, and a lot of it made me laugh out loud. This line in particular, I was like, I could not laugh. So this is Emily talking to Robert. "Robert, you are a tomato I rub myself off with. Be so for real right now." And I just died. It's like, be so for real right now. It's like, yeah, that's a good way to win an argument. It was so funny. She also says, "I need to be euthanized seriously." Also, here's one of those moments where it's a little like on the nose of like, this is a smut novel. So this is Emily's perspective. "And then here I am, a random girl rubbing their vegetable bodies all over me like a horny teenager. Their love story seems poetic and tragic, like Achilles and Patroclus. But adding me into the mix makes it feel like some kind of corny smut novel." It's like, yeah. Actually, yes. It is a corny smut novel. As far as Pounded by Produce, I think I rated it 4 stars on Storygraph. I'll have to double check. I'll put it in the description what my rating on Storygraph was. If you don't use Storygraph, I do recommend it. Feel free to follow me. I do use Goodreads. I don't post like reviews to Goodreads. Also, I don't want to say like I post reviews to Storygraph. I don't really write full-on reviews. However, I'll give it a star rating. So starting in like January, every book that I've read since January 1st, I have assigned a star rating value. my star rating is just vibes. I can't give you like a definition of like what 1 star means versus what 5 star means. Aside from like 5 stars is like I absolutely loved it. It was such a good time. Couldn't put it down. Love, love, love. Would actually like would recommend it to people. 4 stars usually where it's like I really enjoyed it, but I might not recommend it to people. And then kind of anything in between is just literally vibes. Pounded by Produce was fun. It was a really fun read, very lighthearted, very silly. Definitely like a nice quick read. I read it in an evening. I think it took me like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to read. And again, I was like updating my friends the whole time with like bits of like my highlights. Basically, I just sent them my highlights as I highlighted them. If that sounds like something you're interested in, I do recommend it. However, I totally understand that Pounded by Produce is not for everybody, despite me thinking everyone was also getting ads for it. So, yeah. If you read Pounded by Produce, let me know what you thought of it. If you grew up watching VeggieTales, let me know if Pounded by Produce is something you would consider reading. Because I also see the other side of it where it's like, I grew up watching VeggieTales. Why would I read a book that's just going to take something wholesome and ruin it? I see that. I didn't think it ruined it. I thought it was a fun nod to the source content, but it was still very its own thing. Like the characters were fully fleshed out. They were like people before they turn into produce. They do explain how they turn into produce. There is actually I say there is a reason, and it makes sense. It makes sense. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but there is like an explanation. I'll leave it at that. I enjoyed Pounded by Produce. Thank you for joining me, hanging out on my couch in the corner. So if there's anything specific that you'd like to see me read and talk about, feel free to drop that in the comments. I'm willing to read almost anything. Also by GM Ferry, the author who wrote Pounded by Produce. They also wrote Bad Behavior, which I did read and would be more than happy to talk about. They also wrote Get in My Swamp and Stay in My Swamp, which is Shrek. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.